Hello, this is the European History Lecture for Friday, the 3rd of September, 2021. And apparently the word of the day is parabola. Today is going to be the final day of process, but boy, we've got a lot of things to cover. First off, just gotta find my things. You will note the pockets is over there. Monday, we're not here. Tuesday, when we come back, as a matter of course, you will drop off in a particular pocket that you will sign up for now, your stuff. Your stuff is anything electronic, like your smartwatch or your smart telephone. Now, you will see there are 36 pockets. That's more than you. So you each can have your own this period. What I would like you to do, I didn't do this with study hall. I guess I'll have to do that Monday. Now let's study lab. For period 3 is place your name next to the pocket you want. Now to determine who will go first, I'm going to roll the dice. You are number 1. And since you're number 1, why don't you roll? So, person 5 is going first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's you. However, do we go clockwise, which is like this, or counterclockwise, which is like this? 1 to 10 clockwise, 11 through 20 counterclockwise, please. Okay, 1 to 10 clockwise. So you're going to go first, you're going to go second, and you will go last. So, see where it says period 3? Sign on to the number that you want. That's the number that you will have for your tech pocket. Tech pocket. Item 2. Find it. Okay. Item 2 is your seating chart. And your seating place in general. Haley, zip it.
Okay.
Always have some.
I literally just said that.
It's not something valuable.
Yes, it is. My opinion is very valuable.
It's noisy.
Would you let me speak, please?
No, not now.
You didn't get that reference.
I let you speak far too often for everyone's good.
No.
I like it because you're funny.
You didn't get the reference.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yes. You can. You do what
Now,
you do.
I'm going to open a marker. Really want to write those right? Okay, so period 1 has already done its sign ups. Study hall has not. Period 3. Okay. Can you please remind me of your name? Amanda Krause. So, this is a map of the class. Each sort of rhomboid figure is the chair you're in, and in front of you is a slot where you can put your name. We have the whiteboards, the door, and the windows. So you're going to find your seat. Are you on the left, middle, or right of your table? You are right here. So would you please put your name in that lower slot? Thank you. You, remind me of your name, please. Last name? Hey, that's handsome. You are located right here. So please put your name there. It's not good. Too long.
Should I?
Thank you. So, remind me, Hermsmeyer. What's your name, Mr. Hermsmeyer?
Jackson.
Jackson Hermsmeyer. You said the whole thing. Jackson Hermsmeyer. Good. So Jackson You are located right here.
Uh-huh.
Put your name in.
Do you want diagonally or
No, I don't care. Just put it in the box. Okay?
do you want the last name too?
Yes, please. Now, thank you. And I'll just put a fourth person in here so that people can orient themselves. Excuse me. You move
Sure,
that
there you
to the
go.
other side. Okay, remind me of your name. Connor Smith. Name here. Once Connor puts his name down, I'll be passing this around. You will sign on to the spot where you are sitting. If you don't know which spot that is, ask me. Here you go. So, you haven't gotten this yet, have you? Have you guys in the middle gotten this yet? This is this.
No.
Okay, we'll bring it across and then over. So, we have signed up for your, or you are in the present tense, signing up for your pocketses. You are signing up for your seat. If something occurs that requires you to change things, ask me. And we can work out a seating switch or a pocketal switch if that is in fact what you require. Any questions? Okay. I will presume that those will continue to move around the room. Jackson? You're in period 4. So please cross your name out and put yourself in period 3, which is the first 2 columns here. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Good. Just making sure space-time still has solid objects. Now, we are going to your syllabus packet. So please take that out. Your syllabus packet, please. All right. And we are in the class policies number 17. That is XVI in Roman numerals. So please move ahead to the class policies with the page that starts 17. XVI. Before we get into this, does anyone have any questions about seating chart or your tech pocket?
No, sir.
Or any of that? Shh. Really? I'm done. Okay. I'll take an absence of sound as a no. Okay. So, we will proceed. First off, we went over behavior stuff yesterday, and you should know me well enough about that, most of you, to understand this is a formal environment. If you have a bad day, that's one thing. Don't make a pattern or habit of it. Item 18, snow days and due dates. Snow days, if we have a snow day or some kind of weather day or something that keeps us out of school, if there is work due that day, it gets bumped to the next school day. Very simple. Now, if you have work due on a Monday, which is common for you guys, if you have work due on a Monday and we have no school on Friday, your work is still due on a Monday. I'm not going to bump things back because there's an intervening school day. If there's a due date, when there's a snow day, we bump it. Otherwise, the due dates are pretty solid. We've talked about textbooks. They should be home by now and not here. Syllabus work is most of the work you're going to get for the year. I do feel free to give you additional assignments if we have a particular activity related to something we're doing in class. So don't be surprised. But the majority of your work is listed already. My tips on quality work. Item 21. First off, if you're turning in a worksheet or packet for me, follow the format. If not, put your first and last name, the assignment name, my name, and the date, and class period. All work is on standard 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. Diacontate. you'd be kind enough to hold up your beautiful folio there. Just, yes, that in your hand. Okay, that is beautiful paper. And that's a nice drawing. But, thank you, that is not 8.5 by 11 paper. I want standard paper. I do not want beautiful calligraphy paper. I do not want giant legal paper. I've had this happen now. 8.5 by 11 paper, always, please. Number 3, or item C, the first of 2 item C's, as you can see there. Use dark blue or black ink, navy ink, black ink, or dark pencil lead. Why? Because I have poor eyesight, and I don't want to get eye strain. And I won't get eye strain trying to read faint pencil lead or pastel colors with sparkles. Dark, navy blue, black, or dark pencil lead, please. If it's not, I'll probably hand it back and say, rewrite it. Yeah.
Okay, so my notebook's 11 by 9. Is that okay?
Well, that's your notebook. You're probably not going to be turning much in from your notebook. But if you do, 8.5 by 11. 11 by 9. When you tear out the pages, is there a perforated edge? Because that'll probably bring it to 8.5 rather than 9. Technology. Okay. Second item C. Unless dealing with popes or royalty, use the last names of people. God, I hate saying President Biden. I really do. But don't, if you're referring to him in writing for me, call him Joe. Call him President Biden or Biden. That guy on the top over there, Winston Churchill, if you're referring to him, do not call him Winnie or Winston or Win. He is Churchill or Prime Minister Churchill. Now, kings and popes are different. We have another guy I'm not thrilled with, Pope Francis the First, or Pope Francis. So you don't refer to any name other than Pope Francis. Queen Elizabeth II. That's fine. So with royalty and popes, you can use first names. But in general terms, always use the last. Oddly enough, I have this in here because it's a pretty common thing. People just, they think they're being more rich in their writing by alternating between first and last name. It's just bad form. Yes? Thank you. Good. And do we have the numbers? Excellent. So you all have signed up for your numbers, and you've all signed up for your seat. If anyone has not, let me know now. Good. Okay. Oh, God. This is the worst problem for 9th and 10th graders. It is almost ubiquitous unless I address it, except for people who are just solid writers right now. Paragraphs. In the time of Christ and of the Roman emperors, when they wrote, they did not have spaces between words. Think about how fun that would be to read. You're reading a bunch of text with no spaces and precious few punctuation marks. That is a headache-inducing pain in the neck. We have since progressed, and we have invented, somewhere in space and time, not only the space between words, not only punctuation marks, but paragraphs. A paragraph is like a room. You are like an idea. Ideally, in your homes, each of you should have your own bedroom. Now, I know this is not always the case, but it's nice to have privacy, and it's nice to have a place that's yours to shape and mold and design as you like. So in an ideal circumstance, all of your families could provide each of you, your siblings, with their own room. Doesn't always happen. When I was little, my sisters and I shared a room. Then my sisters shared a room, and I had my own room until I went off to college. Then I got to live in the basement because one of my sisters got my room. And that was fun. In any event, it may happen to you. Paragraph is like a room. Every idea should have its own separate, distinct paragraph. I don't care if they're short. A paragraph typically would have more than one sentence, but there are some paragraphs that have a single letter or a single short word. It depends on the circumstance. But in your writing for me, Please do not tell me everything in a single run-on sentence or a single run-on paragraph. It's annoying. It also shows that you're not really in control of what you're writing. You're just vomiting words out onto the page, as if the volume of words will replace any kind of coherence in your ideas. Every idea gets its own paragraph. Please. I have some writing tips. I've taught English as well as history, as well as a few other topics, and I'm telling you, paragraphs will help your writing. It'll help you be more disciplined, and it'll help people more easily read what you write. Item D, that's paragraphs. Item E, polish your work. Look, most of what I have you do is on and in packets. I don't want you to do a polished essay for your for your chapter surveys. You don't need to take the structure that I've had you use and then type something up on beautiful white paper. However, think before you write. If you're writing in pencil, use your eraser. Improve what you're putting on the page. Make it something worth reading. Also, I love to draw. I love to doodle. I love to draw maps. But I, on your work, should not see bunnies, duckies, rainbows, unicorns, lightning bolts, starships, napalm, fighter jets, orc armies, or Sauron. I do not need to see any of that. Please, if you are the kind of person that gets bored if they don't draw something while they're doing something else, have a sheet of scratch paper with you when you're writing and do all that there. Not on work that you turn in for me, please. Also, this is a variant of that. Should I say it's kind of a, yeah, fine. I don't care who you're dating, or who you want to date, or what your initials might be if you were to get married to this person. I don't need that either, or hearts, or any of that. And if you break up, no, not my business. Okay, what's next? Follow my formats. Wikipedia. Wikipedia is fine for looking up things about Star Trek or music that you like, but it's not a scholarly resource. Anyone can write what they want on Wikipedia. There are no standards, really. So, if you use Wikipedia, don't use it as a formal source for any research you do for me. Just don't. Now, you can find interesting information in Wikipedia, including a bunch of websites, links that may be useful to you as you go forward with your research. So go there if you like, but just don't use it as a formal source because it's a lousy one. Restate information in your own words and cite it. That we've already talked about. There's something else. I'm intelligent enough so that when I was in school before the college level, I didn't have to work hard. I didn't have to organize. I absorbed the arts and the humanities like a sponge absorbs water when it's dry. It was easy. Consequently, when I went to college, I got tramped, trounced, beaten to the ground. It was unpleasant because being smart was the norm. I had to also be disciplined, and I wasn't. My wife and I met second half of my freshman year. I started going out. She was a senior, and she taught me something which I'm going to recommend to you. It is the most useful study technique that I know. If you're reading something that comes easy to you, literature, art, history for me, you don't need to do this. But if you're reading something that is difficult, like math, language, or science would be for me, you probably want to try it. While you read, have a notebook open in front of you. When you're done with a section, note down what the section was about in your own words. Now, you might do this paragraph by paragraph, you might do this theorem by theorem, you might do this idea by idea, or you might do it page by page or section by section. What is the point of this? If you were to give me a bunch of laboratory science information rooted in algebra and geometry and trigonometry and calculus, I want you to imagine a waterfall hitting a rock. The rock is my brain. The waterfall is the knowledge. The knowledge falls, it should go into the brain, but it bounces right off and flows away. If I'm reading something that does not come easy to me, bless you, tissues over there if you need them. If I'm reading something that does not come easy to me, that is what happens when I'm just reading. So, by writing down what each section is about, it's not just one wing of the mud at the brain wall. It is, in fact, I've finished a section. What am I going to summarize it as? How am I going to say it? How am I going to put this into my own words? That's a mental process that will help the information stick to your mind. Then you write it down. Oddly enough, the human brain functions differently when you're dealing with the same idea depending upon what you are doing with it. If you're just cogitating and thinking about it abstractly, the brain electronic flows in a certain way. If you're speaking about it, it flows in a different way. If you're doing some kind of graphic representation or interpretive dance, it does it differently. And if you write about it, it takes that, it's Friday and I have difficulty with words today. The electrical impulses flow slightly differently. What I'm saying is that instead of being the mountain waterfall hitting a rock, you actually might retain the information by actively reinterpreting it into your own words. This works for me. It may work for you. So consider it the next time you're struggling with a subject. Now, then again, you may be wonderfully disciplined with an eidetic memory, and you don't need any of these techniques yet. But there probably will come a time when you do. So maybe remember it. I've already talked to you about movies and my policy there. Yes on harsh language and violence, no to strong sex. Okay, we're flipping ahead now, several pages. We go past the sample chapter survey page. And what you see here is a set of case study topics. Please take out, in addition to this list, your case study packet. That was a separate packet that I gave you. It looks a bit like this, in that it says case study packet. Again, according to Haley, we're not learning anything today because I'm going over process
That was
and
not
procedure.
what I meant to say.
I know, but it's fun to make fun of it, so I will. I do not get minded at all. However, do cover your nose with that lovely, lovely mask. Okay. This is especially for people who have never had me before. In the past, before last year, I had students do 4 case studies a year, 4 research projects, 1 per quarter. Last year, we didn't do any because of the lovely Wuhan flu. This year, we're back, but I'm doing it once per semester. So, you have a single case study to do between now and January. The due dates for this, if you look on your syllabus front page, you don't have to turn it, I'll tell you. Your due dates are Monday, December 6th for the profile, and before that, Monday, November the 15th for your 50 facts sheet. So the first bit of your case study, the research information that you gather is due Monday, November the 15th, and then your final profile is due Monday, December 6th. So just before and just after Thanksgiving. I strongly advise you to start working now on it, and we're going to choose topics today. So, what is a case study? A case study is my version of an in-depth research project. If you look at the case study packet, you will see topic. For example, a topic I usually like to talk about is kaiju, or giant Japanese movie monsters. So, if you were to choose kaiju, and I were to crazily approve it as a history topic, there's your topic, kaiju, giant Japanese movie monsters. Okay, below that is thesis. Thesis is an argument that you are going to make if you do an essay. The thesis would be, though Kong is king of the giant monsters, Godzilla is emperor. In other words, Godzilla can beat King Kong. Godzilla is superior to King Kong. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch some Japanese horror movies. They're fun. Thesis is an argument. Topic is a factual bit of information that you're going to go into detail researching. Then it says sources. Primary source is a document from the period translated into English that you will use as a part of your research. For example, if I were researching Gaius Julius Caesar, dictator of Rome, inspiration of the empire, and traitor to the Republic, I might take a relic of his time. I might take a speech that Cicero said he wrote or said he gave. Or I might take Cicero talking about Caesar. Primary source document you'll have to find. That's easy enough. Then you need 2 book sources minimum and 2 web sources. Why do I distinguish? Anyone can go on the web and say whatever they want. I know, I do it all the time. But books go through an editorial process, and publishers are liable to be sued for both libel and slander. If I am purported to be a historian writing nonfiction, and I write something that is scandalous or libelous or just out there crazy wrong, it is possible that someone may sue me successfully. And the publisher that was stupid enough to publish my screed. What I want are at least 2 of your sources to have that kind of process behind them. A process that does actually try to make sure that what is printed is defensible information. Now, if you find on a web page a printed book, that's a book source. I don't care whether you read off of pages or a screen. But if it's a book source, it has to have been published, and therefore a publisher is standing behind it and implying, or actually explicitly saying, that this has gone through an editorial process which should winnow out nonsense. Does anyone not comprehend why I am saying book source as distinct from web source? Don't understand? Now's the time to see no questions. Okay, I'm not going to go into huge detail about everything right now. You'll have time to do that, but I want to give you a sense of what this is. When I was your age, when I did research, my teachers all recommended, and my professors, that I use index cards. Now, you may not know what index cards are, or you might. They are little cardboard cards where you can put facts. I like index cards when I go to the range. I want to see what my NATO 7.62 by 51 rifle round, how many index cards it can go through before it's stopped. Okay? Or my 357 Magnum. How many index... I don't like index cards. Index cards to me make good kindling, which is something you use to start fires. Instead of index cards, and instead of having everything on your computer, what I recommend is, in fact, what I insist on, is that you gather at least 50 facts about your topic here, on this side and on the other page side. These 50 facts include the long line where you write down the fact. For example, yes, Maximilien Robespierre, radical who ran the worst phase of the French Revolution, was given a suit with guillotine buttons, and he was proud to wear it. Guillotine is an execution device that chops people's heads off. This tells you the kind of guy he is. It would be like Joseph Stalin getting a tunic with machine guns on the buttons. It would just be a revelation of the inner man. To my knowledge, Stalin never got one of those. So Robespierre gets a guillotine suit, or a guillotine button suit. That's your fact. Now let's say you discover that fact in your third source, which is a book about the French Revolution. So you would write Robespierre's guillotine button suit. On the first short line, you would write 3 for coming from the third source, and you would put the page numbers on the fourth on the little line to the right. You do this for 50 facts that you're going to use as a basis for your research. This will be turned in to me before Thanksgiving. Any questions on what I'm asking for in the 50 fact sheet, which is what I call it? Miss?
Bad research.
URLs. And you don't have pages. So just URLs for the web source, and I'll count that as good. I mean, if it's a gigantic web source and it has subdivisions, maybe indicate whatever seems logical. Okay. Next, below, on the second side of the sheet, you will see a case study presentation. That's an option. That is voluntary. You do not have to do one. You may do one. If you do a case study presentation for extra credit, I will probably have you come in and present to my study lab. If you want to do a video, I will probably play it for my study lab, because the point of a presentation is to be seen by students. So you are welcome to do a presentation according to the strictures listed here. You do not have to. Next page. This is the heart of the case study. It's called a profile. And that's just my way of saying you're writing an encyclopedia article about your topic. So, glad you think so. The first section is a way of gathering all the important things. I usually do it last. It's a newspaper headline and first paragraph. If there were a newspaper writing about your topic, what would the headline be and what would the first paragraph be? As you learn to write, you will learn that the first paragraph of a news article should have who, what, when, where, why, and maybe even how in it. It should grab you with the headline's vividness, and the first paragraph should tell any casual reader what they need to know about the topic. That's what you'll do with your topic here. Second section is chronology. That's timeline. We'll go into details later. Next page. You'll be analyzing the beginning and ending. Then we talk about the core beliefs, middle of that page, which is the faith, philosophy, or ideology motivating people in your topic. Next page. We then talk about notable events and historically significant people. At the bottom, foreign affairs, diplomacy, alliances, and war. Next page. Military science, science and exploration. Next page. Daily life, and then geography. Next page. And then you're analyzing a primary source document. Now, historiography, this is for AP. Here, if you are practicing for AP, you will then talk about historians who write about your topic and controversies among them. This is required. It will take you time to do a good job. So today, we're going to choose your initial topics. But before we do, right afterwards, on the last 2 pages, is the other optional assignment, which is the case study essay. The essay is not a factual essay. It is an argumentative essay. You are persuading someone to a point of view. So your point of view might be that Godzilla is tougher than King Kong. You'd write a 16-paragraph structured essay demonstrating that. Or you might write that Joe Stalin was a more blood-stained tyrant than Adolf Hitler. Or Mao Zedong was a more blood-stained tyrant than either of them. In any case, it's an argumentative essay where you're comparing 2 things. That is also voluntary, but it's a hefty extra credit that you may want to do, not only to solidify your grade, but to edify yourself. You know, it could be interesting. So, this is the broad structure of the case study. It's a big project. It's due the research is due just before, and the profile just after Thanksgiving. And with the profile can come the extra credit presentation or essay. Any questions on that before we choose topics? Okay. What we're going to do today is we are going to choose topics. Now, you will see here, Honors European History, Case Study 1 Topics. It goes to the next page. So we are going from number 1, the Black Death, to number 108, Ludwig van Beethoven. What I'm going to do is ask you to make a provisional choice today. If it needs to be changed, it needs to be changed. If someone else in here chooses a topic that you want to do, you will have to adapt and choose another topic. I'm not going to have multiple people in this class doing the same thing. So, what I'd like to do is give you a few minutes just to look over the list and come up with a first, second, and third choice for yourself. And then we'll roll the dice, people will choose, and you'll have your topic. So, take a few minutes, look over things, and I'll be back. Okay. Honestly, the Black Death. You could also do concentration camps. You could do Stalin's gulags. One other thing. If there's a topic that you really want to do, and the time frame is from 1450 until about 1815, from the Renaissance through the Napoleonic Wars, if there's something you want to do that's not on this list, suggest it. And if I like it, I'll approve it. And if I think it needs to be adjusted for approval, I'll adjust it. So if there's something, but through 1850. So it's basically, so you might find the terror in France during the French Revolution, the Great Terror. I suppose you could do Dumas, the Man in the Sun. Mm-hmm. If you like Dumas. So, you don't like Dumas? Well, René Descartes is the same way. René Descartes was a wonderful scientist and a good philosopher, but a lousy human being. Okay. This is not going back on. I will try and okay, I'll walk around. If you have questions about topics, just ask.
Sean is good. Question. Sean is good. Question.
Well, you would pick an artist. For example, if you would have you would pick the band. So you would do the general Well, Rembrandt lives.
I don't want to have to write about parts or author for Mozart.
British and French history. No questions, ladies?
They have huge banners.
Oliver Cromwell was the Lord Protector of England. He was a dictator who took over from the monarchy, executed a king, and ruled England with an iron fist for about 20 years. Interesting guy. Yeah.
The Queen's never going to do that. She's immortal. I really don't want to think about that.
There may be some.
Why do you always like spend this
I don't
always on stocks?
And?
Yeah.
No, that's not.
Again, you want a certain particular thing. I would go with the Great Terror. If you could do that, you should. Okay, we'll be choosing in about a minute, so be ready. Well, that's something you should. That's a worthy topic. Matteo Ricci. Yeah, and I think that's listed here under the name. So yeah, definitely. That's a point of interface between the West and China, and it's a great story. So I think you'd like it. Yeah. That is the time when he comes back from Elba and is to be at Watergate.
That's the.
100 days. Okay, what I do with Napoleon is I divide it the politician or the military, and I give you broad, so I wouldn't have you just go to Simon. But look, just propose that would be military. Because he doesn't have time to do it. He's got to fight for his life. Questions? Yes. 30 seconds. Yeah. Yes, you can.
No time.
No, Bloody Mary was saying she got killed. Bloody Mary was that's older.
Are you like,
Hi.
you
Tried
and
to be
that?
Yes.
I know, and you're also a motorcycle.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so we're going to do this fast and understand. What I want is very, very quick. If you've ever seen the Soup Nazi on Seinfeld, you know the speed at which I'm going to try to work. When I roll, we're going to pick who goes first, and then I'll roll clockwise or counterclockwise. I want the number and your first and last name. That's it. The number of the topic and your first and last name so that I can get these all written down before the class period ends. Otherwise, we're going to run into your time. Where's my pen? Did I loan my pen to somebody? Yes, it is. We'll find out later. I don't have time. So, who goes first? You're number one. Roll it. Okay, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're first, Mr. Suslov. Now I go clockwise or counterclockwise? I go clockwise. So we're going from Suslov to you, Pius, and you, Shaughnessy, are last. I'm sorry. Okay, quick.
Number 74, David Suslov.
Okay, 74. No, I have a pen up here. Maybe I have two. This may be somebody's. Okay.
What?
So, 74. Suslov. Got it. Pius.
Number 61.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, cross these out because you don't have access to them once they're chosen. Connor.
98.
Okay, 98. So we're on the flip side. Okay, Admiral Nelson. Okay.
To Jane Robinson.
Got it, Jane.
39.
Okay. 39. Elizabeth first. Thank you. Yes. 23, Ava Duffy. By the way, if the bell goes off and we have not chosen yet, stick around until we do. Yes.
11.
Okay. 11. Ruby. Yes. 87. Ryland Dixon. Okay. Yes. 100. Amanda Browson. 88. Yes.
54, Alexandria Montgomery.
Okay.
54.
Yeah, 54, Cromwell. Alex, yeah. Yes?
65, Emma Fish.
65, Emma.
I literally picked this for the
Okay, yes?
97, Jackson Armstrong.
Okay, 97,
97.
Jackson. Okay, yes?
50, Portia Gertis.
50, Portia Gertis.
50.
50.
50. Yes.
One.
Okay, 1, Fiona Hansen. Yes. 93, Miss Shepard. Okay.
Max Melody.
Okay, yes.
32. Max
32, Maddie Daigle. Yes.
I made my own.
I'm surprised the Spanish Inquisition isn't on here, but fine. I'm going to write it in special. Spanish Inquisition. I will be playing that. And that's Mira Crawford. Yes. 103, Natal Davis.
What is that?
Rococo art.
No. 103.
Oh, I'm sorry, neoclassical art. That is very different. Yes. 39, Ellie Morosco. 39, Eleanor. 39, 39, 39. It's been taken. I contact just taken it. Miss. All right. 55. Yep, you got it. So, Ellie M. Sir.
79.
79, Sam Lambert. Very important to understand. Good one. Haley. Quickly. Okay, 41 or 80. 80. Okay. So, Haley, you're doing Rousseau.
Yeah.
And Shaughnessy.
Whichever was the terror of France.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that in as a special category. You have the Great Terror of the French Revolution. The Great Terror is what it's called. The Great Terror. And that's Shaughnessy.
Oh, I made one. Oh, that's good.
Now listen. In the event that you start work and you discover that this is okay, and you discover that it's not going to work out. You can't find the information you want, or it's a topic that simply does not appeal to you, or whatever. Come talk to me, and as long as nobody else has chosen, you can have another topic. I would do this process sooner than later. Certainly between now and the middle of September, I would work out whether the topic that you chose will work for you. Any questions? So when we return, we actually go into the history and we'll learn something.
Yay!
You may talk quietly amongst yourselves until dismissal.